Lease versus financing. Should I lease or should I finance? Now, leasing or financing, this is a very common question. There's a lot of answers on it online, and there's a lot of helpful tips and information and details that a lot of car reviewers give, and they're very helpful. I'd like to add few things. Now, when it comes to leasing versus financing, let's start with leasing. What's the benefit of leasing? Well, leasing will protect you from depreciation. That's number one. So vehicles like BMWs, Mercedes, Genesis, I would also say Infiniti, they're good for leasing, right? So you're not going to have to deal with a lot of depreciation, because like we said, the lease will protect you from that. Get in touch with them before committing to a 3 to 4 years. Once you commit to a 3 to 4 year lease, you cannot return the vehicle. Okay? If you were to return it, you're gonna pay a hefty fine or a hefty penalty. Okay? So committing yourself to a 3 to 4 years lease is a big decision. You're gonna be limited by the mileage too. So you gotta keep that in mind. What's the amount of kilometers I'm gonna do every year, because the lease maximum is 24,000. So that's something definitely to consider as well when you're leasing. Now with leasing too, if you're buying a vehicle that's new, you're the first generation, there hasn't been history on that vehicle. It's not like fourth generation, fifth generation. I would say lease it, because you don't know what could go wrong, and some manufacturers or some dealerships, it's very, very hard to return the vehicle or deem it as defective and then get a new one. Of course, the dealership will shy away from doing that. They're gonna keep telling you, okay, we're gonna fix it, bring it in tomorrow, and then we're gonna give you a shuttle service, or we're gonna rent a car, and we include a rental service in our agreement where we're gonna rent a car for you, and you can just keep driving your rental until your leased car is fixed. So like everything else, lease has its pros and cons. Okay, with the leasing, you just give them the key after the 3 to 4 years. Of course, you have to return the vehicle in the same condition you took it. So if there is a dent, you gotta fix it before returning it. If there are scratches, you gotta fix the scratches. There is a warranty that will cover you for it. However, $1,500 or $2,000 for that warranty, I don't think it's worth it. If you have children, let's say you have children, and your children, the vehicle is going to be a mess from inside. They're going to drop like some ice cream or chocolate, on the floors or on the seat. I would definitely recommend get a vehicle with the leather seats, easy to clean when you have children. Okay. Yeah, so back to the leasing, you gotta look at the buyout rate. So at the end of the term, after the 3 or 4 years, when your lease payment is done, if you want to own the vehicle, how much are you gonna pay to own it? Okay, because then they can finance that amount for you. Or you just want to return it, you don't like it anymore, or you gotta do the math, right? You gotta do the math. So that's really it about leasing. I would not lease a Toyota, definitely not. I would not lease a Honda. I would lease some sports cars. I would lease them, not all of them, but let's say a Hyundai N or the Kia. I believe the Kia also has a sport model, same like the Hyundai. I would lease those. They do depreciate a lot. Hyundai does depreciate a lot, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. I would definitely lease a Genesis. I would definitely lease a Genesis too. Also, if you're the type of person that like to change the vehicle every 3 to 4 years, I would definitely recommend the lease for you. If you're a person that like to keep up with the new tech in vehicles, and the new models, and you want to try the new engines, for example, new transmission, so the new design for vehicles, so you like to replace your vehicles often, every, like I said, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, sometimes even, I would definitely still lease. So that's what I would recommend leasing for. Go to finance. Now, people finance their vehicles because they want to own the vehicle, right? They want to keep it for a long time. Sometimes minimum of 5 years, up to 10 years. Some people do that. It's something from the past. I feel like this generation is not really into owning a vehicle for a long time. They like change. They like quick changes. So, you know, definitely I would recommend for people who want to do quick changes for their vehicle, just lease. Yeah, so you're keeping your vehicle 5 to 10 years. You definitely want to finance. There are brands like Toyotas, Hondas. You know, I would say these are the top when it comes to keeping as much value as the vehicle. I mean, in the first 2-3 years, you're gonna be upside down in your loan anyways, unless you put money down. Okay, but guys, a car is not an investment unless you're buying an, you know, a BMW M5 CS or a GTRS Porsche or a vintage, some vintage vehicle, you know, or an SLR McLaren Mercedes. Like, you know, if you're not buying these cars, like, cars are not going to be investments at all. Okay, so either way, even if you go with like the vehicles that hold the value the most, if you put zero down, you took a 5-6 year loan, in the first 2 years you're going to be upside down on the loan anyway. Not as much as other brands. I would say definitely Hondas and Toyotas are the best when it comes to financing, just because they don't lose as much value when you resell them. So the resale market for Toyotas and Hondas are so hot. They sell very quickly, right? And they don't lose as much. Every vehicle is going to lose money. That's inevitable, right? It is going to happen, okay? Now, I would say Hyundais and Kias, I think they're in terms of reliability. Like, for example, the new Palisade. I've noticed that when you open the hood, you know, like some of the stuff, the way it's set up and the way the hoses are, some of them are not even like, I mean, the new Palisade Hybrid, it has like a the air filter, and it has like the you know, the pipe for the air filter. It's on the top, and it's very cheap plastic. But with Hyundai, like, you're getting a lot for what you pay for. Like, if you get those same features as a Palisade in a Highlander, or like a Toyota, you know, Highlander, or a Honda Pilot, you'll be paying way more than what you're paying for a Palisade, right? So with Hyundais, it's a lot of value for what you get. I mean, some people have had a Hyundai for a long time, but realistically speaking, it's not a very reliable vehicle. Mechanically, it's not very reliable. I would say once it hits the 100,000, just sell it, right? Just sell it. And remember, they lose way more money compared to Honda and Toyota, right? So there's something to keep in mind. Yeah, so we're talking about financing, right? So like we said, you're keeping the vehicle for a long time, and you want to own it eventually, right? Now with financing too, I mean, a lot of people finance because not everyone have the financial capacity just to replace a vehicle every 3-4 years, right? Or buy a luxurious vehicle and then lease it, right? Average people, they would just go and finance, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with financing. Now, in terms of down payment, make sure when you're putting the down payment, take the taxes out. So pay for the tax separately. Pay for the tax separately, so you don't get charged interest on the taxes, and your down payment goes right to the MSRP. Okay. That's another thing, right? Now, financing, obviously, you have, you know, 4, 5, 6, and 7 years. Never take the 8 years. It's a higher interest rate. and by the time you reach the 4th or the 5th or the 6th year, your vehicle is going to start to give you a lot of problems anyways, and that's just how it works. Again, unless you own a Toyota or Honda, you should have a much better luck with these two. They're top reliability. Honda and Toyotas are the top. I would say even Toyota. Toyota is the king of reliability, right? They've been building turbos in their engine lately, which I'm not a fan of. I would say if you're just chosen between buying a hybrid gas, the 4-cylinder, and the 4-cylinder turbo, just buy the 4-cylinder hybrid, right? Toyota has mastered their hybrid system, right? They've mastered it. So that's the main difference really between finance and lease in this video, like I explained. If you guys have any questions, please drop a comment, like, subscribe. You can always email me or call me or text me. I'll be happy to just sit with you and have a conversation. There's no charge. I'm not charging any consultation fees. The first 50 deals I want to do at absolutely no cost. Now obviously you can find the information for free, right, online, lease versus finance, right? But the value I can add for you is I can uncover needs that you're not aware of, right? For example, like I said, things like, oh, you didn't know that the taxes, it's better to pay for the taxes cash, right? So you don't get charged interest, right? Maybe the conversation, you're telling me that you want to buy that specific vehicle, but you didn't know that that vehicle would not be the right vehicle for you. For example, since you have a baby on the way and you feel what you have right now. So let's say you have 2 kids, husband and wife, and 2 kids, right? And you're buying a RAV4. Okay. Well, if you're having a kid on the way, are you sure that is the right decision? Maybe you should need a Highlander, right? Or you should need an Odyssey, right? Like a van or something bigger. So sometimes those little things we tend to miss, because I've seen this in the business where customers sometimes can miss those simple details, and then in 2-3 years they would say, oh, I bought the wrong vehicle. Or someone with like knee issues, right? They buy an Elantra or a Corolla, and the Elantra and the Corolla, they're great cars, but they're close to so getting in and out would be hard for someone who have knee issues, right? So someone basically who have knee issues, it's better that they go with a RAV4, like something a little bit higher from the ground, an SUV, right? So those little things matters, guys. There's so much to assess and to break down when it comes to buying a vehicle. Like you're spending $30, $40, $50, $60,000. I have met salespeople in the car industry who are very good at identifying needs and breaking down needs, and the majority are really bad when it comes to identifying the needs. Okay, so again, Sharif from DrvAway Negotiation Desk. I hope you guys, my videos are benefiting you and are helping you. I'm trying to stay consistent, posting videos every day. There's so much content I want to put out. There's so much. I'm always used to the face-to-face interactions and having calls. I'm not always used to talking to a camera. So posting a video every day is my goal, and I did not expect it's gonna be that hard. It is really hard, really hard. You gotta be so consistent, so disciplined, and you can't work based on your mood. You must have a routine, and you must get used to that routine. You must, right? It's just, if you really have a goal, you want to make a difference, you have to be different, right? So that's it for today.